conversation. I think this is a conversation that I was born to start and a conversation that I feel privileged to represent. And we're going to be talking into your gift of being empathic, the gift of being an empath, and how that precludes you to being a healer, whether you like it or not, whether you do it covertly, overtly in purple hippie tie-dye dresses, or as a powerful leader using your emotional center to lead others to higher levels of vibration. Cool. Hi, Tammy. Lovely to meet you. I love connecting with people that I know and people that I don't know in these amazing blabs. And this conversation is the final conversation in a series of promotional blabs to launch Heart Healing. It's been amazing. We're up to 368 downloads so far of this amazing book. We all feel called to do things in life, and releasing this book was one of the things that I just felt called to do. And the amount of resistance that I personally experienced into actually bringing it into form highlighted how very important it was. And the resistance that I encountered launching it onto Kindle, not because of any technical difficulties or any challenges, but merely giving myself permission to expose my heart to my family. Not being in control of who read the book and who basked in the content. And it's funny, it's not so much the whole world seeing it, but the people that are most close to you. So if you can relate to this, I'm really happy, and I know that each of you is exposing who you are. And this conversation is around beginning to deepen into owning your role as a healer. So we're going to be talking into your gift of being an empath, also the gift of being a healer, and how that shows up today, because what I'm witnessing personally is a rise of empaths. I'm watching more and more people absolutely connect with the idea that they are empathic. It's absolutely undeniable. And I really love reminding myself of the glorious truth that we are all empathic. However, some of us are more sensitive than others. But this capacity to be able to feel and sense what's happening in the emotional world of other people actually gives us access to privileged information that nobody else can access. When we can feel into people's heart space, when we can feel into their emotional world, we have the keys and the pathways and the vision and the sight to literally lead and guide them to completely new experiences within themselves. So this is a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be covering. Welcome, Susan. It's lovely to have you with us. And I just love that as we're on the blab, kind of more and more people kind of come along. And so that gets me really excited, because what I'm here to do is to connect with other hearts. I really like this palpable experience of being here together. So what I really like doing is I like to say a prayer at the beginning of these blabs, because it's very sacred information that we're exchanging. Yes, this is an exchange, because while I'm sitting here with you, I'm permitted access to feel into you. And I'm not going to go deep, or I'm not going to invade your system, but anyone that feels drawn to hang out with me, I can just naturally pick up what's happening for you around your world. And you have been drawn into this environment where you can be seen and where you can be known, and where we can really shed some layers and shed some masks so that we can deepen into a really organic, authentic conversation that will give you permission to absolutely rise in your truth. So that's our intention. And let's just start with a lovely, gentle prayer, just grounding us, protecting us. We call on the heavens, we call on our guides and our angels, the sacred companions of our path, and pray that we can be encircled by your loving guidance. We pray that the path that where we find ourselves now will be illuminated. We ask and pray that our hearts and minds will be open and clear. We ask that we can all have permission to be in deep connection with ourselves. That in this environment we will be able to access an insight and an awareness of our truth that will support us to rise further on our path. Thank you so much for Blab. Thank you for the internet. Thank you for the connection, the space, the time that we share now. We consecrate this time to deepening into our truth and pray that we'll be supported to do so. This is our prayer and intention in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Lovely. Okay, cool. So there's a few people that are known and not known joining us. So Tammy, you're an artist. You're an artist, darling. What's your medium? I would love, for those of you, I know some of you, but if you'd like to introduce yourself, I am, say your name, say your role, play with it today. I've been thinking today, I'm really feeling shadow worker today. I'm like, I am Lysa Black, the shadow worker, helping you to access more light. So play with that. Play with something along those lines if you'd like to introduce yourself to one another so that we can create a really beautiful co-creative space where it's not just me engaging with you, but you engaging with one another. Hi, Angela. Lovely to hear from you. Tell us a bit about who you are, maybe where you're from. Ooh, Dragon Trainer. Love it. I knew we would call forward some amazing souls today, so I honor the dragon trainer within you, sweetheart, and welcome you into the space. So what I really like to do at the beginning of these blabs is I really like to just establish a little bit of understanding around some of the key terms that we're going to be using. So today we're talking into being an empath, talking about being a healer, and I really feel just talking a little bit more to shadow work and what that is and how it can lift us further into light. Right, we've got Kim is a unicorn breeder from Georgia. Yeah! Ooh, phoenix breeder. Ooh. You're getting the phoenixes to make love and create more little phoenixes. That's just absolutely magnificent. I love it. I love it. Thank you for coming to my playground. Thank you for making this a magical space. And just to define a little bit more, what is a shadow worker? We hear the term really commonly about a light worker. We know that light workers are here to expand and amplify light. What I really love being sensitive to and privileged to witness is that a lot of our light is actually suppressed in our shadow, and that shadow is merely light repressed. So if you find yourself experiencing blocks in your life, if you find yourself experiencing a wobble as you're intending to rise up and own more that you are, when you find those wobble moments are actually asking you to return to your foundation of who you think you are and actually return to some of the underpinnings of what has made you so golden. So our shadow teachers are the people that graded on us and hurt us, but they also called us to truth. They also called us to our path. These people are often the people that we hold the most resentment towards. We'll be holding grudges towards these people. These are often key family members in our early stages. Within the first 15 years, they might have been teachers, they might have been friends or siblings. These people really called us to our light, and they started a process of acceleration where we literally went, I'm going to be what you are not. I will not allow myself to be anything like what you've shown me because I know how much that has hurt me. Yeah, cool as. So what's really powerful is that it's like there's stages to this, and being in the presence of these shadow teachers kind of doesn't give us a choice. We just sit in all this tension and we rise up and we develop all the noble traits, love, compassion, mercy, acceptance, because we were shown none. So this is how our shadow teachers activate our path, but then we get to a point where the resentment towards them and that original motivation to not be like them is actually an unstable foundation to build a true light leadership platform on. So we reach this point where we actually have to go back to that source and we have to integrate those shadow aspects. The parts that we rejected and despised in our shadow teachers are the same parts that we reject and despise ourselves. So this is actually not about that person. This is about reclaiming the aspects that we judge them for, claiming them that they are a part of us. And remember, shadow is only light repressed. So in order to hold more tension, to hold more information, to hold more light, and to step up into higher and higher paradigms, we have to be able to sit in a really deep knowing of the truth of who we are. So think about this person. Let's make this a little bit interactive because I love making things interactive. And if you would like to, no names being named, but if you would really like to think about that one person you got the biggest grudge against, go ahead and bring them forward in your mind. This is your place where you're safe, and I'm wrapping you and enfolding you in love so that you have a firm foundation to give yourself permission to acknowledge the person that you're holding the biggest grudge against. Okay. Feel into the resentment that you hold towards that person. And at this point, we're just going to look at one aspect. Look at that person and think about that one aspect that you really want to judge them for the most, and that there's the most bitterness around. Once you've found that, I want you to be brave and share it with me. Let's see, could this help me get rid of resentment I have towards someone? She only has a few weeks to months left to live. Absolutely. And my dear Phoenix trainer, this is absolutely why you're in the call today. So welcome, let's play. I want you to be able to take that person, and I just want you to be able to name the aspect, okay? So an aspect could be that they were cruel. An aspect could have been that they were merciless. An aspect could have been that they were selfish, poor me, power stealer, energy drainer. Yeah, just one. I hear you. But for the sake of this call, because we've got about another 20, 25 minutes left together, let's just stick with one, because this is always something that you can play with and deepen into later on. Let's play with one aspect and go ahead. If you're feeling brave, you don't need to do this, but if you wanna have fun, just name that aspect. Bring it forward. Have it revealed. Vindictive. I love it, and I love that you're willing to play. Vindictive. I love it. Okay. So here's what I'm going to invite you to do. Disassociate that part. Yeah, of course you do, sweetheart. It's so... I'm going to tell you why you have to heal this. And the reason why you have to heal this is that until we heal these aspects from this person that we've judged the most, we will secretly recreate this within ourselves towards ourselves. Okay, this is nasty, nasty stuff, because you've been so exposed to this shadow behavior, you hold yourself to such high account that you will never display this aspect in front of another human being. But what you will do is hold it deeply within yourself until you fall from grace, until you step into something and make a mistake and you get upset and angry at yourself. You're going to whip this sucker out. You're going to smash yourself with it. Okay, now my example was I had someone in my life who acted as a brick wall. So when I was vulnerable and needy and I really needed to be held and embraced and loved, that's when I would get shut out. So I never did this, okay? It activated my gold, my capacity to love and embrace and receive people and all that they are was birthed from that pain of not being held, okay? You're not listening to me, you're feeling into what this means for you. Yeah. So that aspect of me was birthed, but then even though I was capable of offering this deep acceptance to everybody else in my path, I withheld it from myself. And that's what we're all doing. That's how this actually plays out. As we judge this person for that aspect, we permit it to have power in our own realm. And I want to call you on that today in love and invite you to a new level of leadership in your own life. Yes, she says. The Phoenix trainer, the Phoenix breeder says yes. So I wish I could have a conversation with you, Phoenix trainer, because it might be a little bit easy, because what's interesting about healing this is that you need to find the word that is the counter, polar opposite of vindictive, that is a reflection of the noble aspect that is contained within that shadow aspect. I'm going to say this again because this is all... It's a new emotional experience to talk about this. Okay, so every shadow aspect has a noble, pure counterpart. Yeah. Cool stuff. I'm so stoked to be sharing this. You can feel me buzzing, yeah? Ooh, Grace, magnificent. Yeah, nice. Is this for vindictive, Tammy? Are you nailing that one for our beautiful Phoenix breeder? Or is that yours? Is that, yeah, well done. What's important is for Phoenix breeder to name that aspect for herself, because there can be nuances. So Phoenix breeder, would you like me to tell you your name, or would you like me just to call you Phoenix breeder? Because I'm more than happy to do that. Yeah, and this is why we're together. And that's why this blab is talking into shadow worker, because that... As an empath, you have all been led to witness some of the darkest shadows that are being reflected within the whole of humankind. I don't really understand why. Well, I do. I know it's to call us to a path of light. But some of the most gifted empaths, in my experience, have really, really strong shadow teachers. Yes, you would be. And for anyone that needs to qualify that for themselves right now, you know, an empath is somebody that feels the emotions of somebody else within their own body. But it's just not that simple. It's not that simple to just say you feel the feelings of other people in your own body. We also feel the emotional pain of other people within our own body. And we can get to the point where we can't distinguish whether the emotional pain that we're sensing and experiencing is ours or somebody else's. Yes, so often empaths are intuitive. Everyone that I work with is always empathic and intuitive. We're all spiritually gifted. We can either see divine guidance through our vision, through our clairvoyance. We hear whisperings of guidance through our spiritual ears, clairaudience, or we're clairsentient. We can feel and sense divine wisdom within our own tummy. You can write. Beautiful. Now, Phoenix Breeder, would you like to tell me your name? Or are you happy for me to call you Kim? Hi, Kim. I'll just write that down so I can recall. Okay, so the gift of being an empath is that we are the ones deeply privileged. That's how I feel now. We're exposed, would be another way of saying it, to the suffering of humankind. Now, we see suffering, okay, but this is a whole nother level. Being an empath is we feel their suffering. Now, often, when we're younger, adults tend to lie about all of these things. So you will have experienced the confusion of your mother saying, "Oh, no, I'm fine, honey. Everything's okay." Meanwhile, her whole world was falling apart within. The trick about wounds is that all wounds are inherited. And we do, absolutely, Kim. What we do is that our emotional safety, our whole experience of life is actually feeling their pain. So we end up becoming master nurturers, and we figure out that if we can heal or fix, bring love, bring compassion, bring mercy into their space, that once they shift and feel better, we'll shift and feel better too. Unfortunately, as I found out when I had a massive breakdown 10 years ago, is that until I healed, I would manifest those souls with the same wounding as me into my realm so that I would have to face myself. So the biggest concern for an empath is I'm sick of getting stuck in their stuff. The glorious, horrific truth is that their stuff is our stuff. And what I gave myself permission to do was I felt powerless, always trying to help them heal, until I reclaimed my privileged sovereignty to heal my own emotional wounds. And I can feel you're all at varying degrees. Some have accepted that. Some are not wanting to, but knowing they're needing to. Some are sitting in the wobble of having just accepted that. How's that feeling, everyone? Is that resonating? Oh, I just love this conversation, and I love this space because it's so raw and organic, and I just love that we've said a prayer so that we can all feel really safe and we can all feel in to what this is bringing up for all of us. So being an empath means that we're so privileged to their suffering. You will have spent years or decades trying to bring healing to their wounds. You will know all the ways that that can be done. However, you will continually reflect people, strangers on the streets, clients, customers, in-laws, children, everyone. That reflects your own shadow aspects and your own wounds. Now, this is mirror work, and this is the most supportive, efficient way to actually step into our healing, because until we can see what needs healing within ourselves, we can't really begin. And it doesn't matter how much we can talk about healing. Healing is an uncontrollable emotional experience that we have to surrender to, and it doesn't matter how much we intellectually know about that. It's about trusting that process, that healing ourselves is about uncovering our own lies, the lies that we inherited from the people that modeled behavior around us, and being in a space where we can ask for our truth. So, yeah. Just chime in. How do you test your results? Okay, how do I test my results? That's a really good question, because when it comes to mirror work, I remember I knew that I needed to heal the wound that I was unwanted because I actually manifested an unwanted stray tabby kitten. My baby was a few weeks old, about 12 or 13. She just started to sleep through the night. And I remember laying there, and I heard a cry, and I knew it wasn't my baby. And I did not want to be there for another baby, at this point, 3 weeks into kind of getting up continually all the time. But who can deny, the cry from a stray, hungry, lonely kitten. So it called me up, called me out of bed, and I went, and she was all dirty. Don't know where she'd been, and I knew she had disrupted me. I knew she'd triggered me. Couldn't figure it out. And then my husband doesn't like cats. He didn't want a pet. So in the morning I was faced with the decision that I needed to take this unwanted cat to, I don't know what you call them, wherever you're from, a place that receives stray animals or abandoned animals. And that's when I started crying uncontrollably, because this cat was reflecting the perception I held of myself, that I was unwanted. Okay, so I knew that I felt like I was unwanted. I couldn't connect with where that was from. My parents had left me quite a few times, so that was there. But I used the pain from connecting with that stray tabby cat. This is so funny to be sharing this right now. And I was led back to an experience where I was actually in the womb and feeling my mother's feelings of wishing that she wasn't pregnant. I don't know what the circumstances were, something around that I was their first child, and that now they'd separated frequently, but now that she'd conceived a child, she knew she was bound to my father. And so because of that, potentially, she may have felt a part of her that she didn't want to receive this new baby. As empaths, we don't listen to the words that people speak. We feel the feelings that they feel. And in the womb, we're awash in the feelings and emotional experience of our mothers. So, you're with me, Kim. So, Blue Streak, Sigh. If you want to tell me your name, I would love. So, I knew the wound was that I was unwanted. It would be a few weeks until I felt ready to ask for my truth. And it was in the place where I'm at right now, up in the country. I intuitively felt to hop into a bath with the lights out and immerse myself in warm water. Very womb-like, You're with me? And I allowed myself to feel the pain of being this new-formed creature, awash in rejection and feeling unwanted. And I prayed and I asked that I could receive the truth. And I'd been developing my clairvoyance, and they opened up a vision. I love sharing this with you guys. Don't mind, I cry all the time, so don't mind me. I saw a vision of coming down and being conceived and joining my family, and that they trusted me with my path. They trusted me to be sent where I was sent amongst powerful shadow teachers. But they rejoiced, the angels rejoiced that I was here on earth and that my work had begun. And as soon as I saw these angels cheering and just rejoicing, they were just fully rejoicing. I just felt so at home here, because I just knew that they knew why I was here, and I knew that my path was to go into the circumstances where I found myself, and I've found myself through my circumstances. So you're going to love this. If you're loving this, you're going to definitely want to read the chapters in Heart Healing on Giving Forgiving. And this story is in there a little bit as well, around lies form heart wounds from chapter 3. And chapter 9 is ego is our shadow compass. The darkness leads us to light. So, had the money for what, darling? No, it's free. Heart Healing, the ebook is free, darling. So if you would like to access the ebook to be able to learn more about self-healing, just type in, Heart Healing, 13 Principles of Emotional Self-Healing, and you'll have it. Okay. So that was a detour, but I hope that it's supported you to be able to understand. That's great. That's great. Blue Streak Sigh. So we are called into this path where we're going to call forward these powerful shadow teachers to guide us on our path. They're going to activate us to a point until we're going to reach these blocks. Now, these blocks can't be healed until we accept that some of these shadow traits, come on, I'm lightening it up here. All of the shadow traits of our shadow teachers are parts within ourselves. And so we've had some help from Emma. Was it Emma? Tammy was helping Kim to be able to see that vindictive was actually around grace. Yeah. So I think what's so powerful is that as empaths, we are absolutely so sensitive to feeling and to the wounding within others. You'll reach a point where you can't heal. You're not going to want to face even trying to heal someone of something else. And that will call you in to heal that aspect for yourself. The more you heal your own aspects, the more you're going to see your clientele and the people that are drawn to you shift and evolve. My clientele now are always a reflection of the shifts that I made about 6 to 12 months ago. And my clientele is constantly evolving, and that's important for me to know that I'm progressing in my own healing and that I am healing. So I think what is so powerful is that there's a real reluctance and a real yearning. It's interesting, yeah. Look at that shadow and light aspects being mirrored there about owning ourselves as healers. And I found it very, very difficult to put on my business card, and I did, that I was a heart healer, because I didn't want to dampen down the reality that is mine, that we're all healers. So I just think being an empath makes you a healer because you're privy to truth. And you're privy to emotional pain, and even though people will verbally deny it, you can feel it. And your presence actually brings those wounds to the surface. So if you're anything like me, you've been left, you've been abandoned, and people have walked away from you because of the emotional intensity you create within their world becomes unbearable for them. And they will either leave you or try to incriminate you for that. A lot of the empaths that I'm blessed to serve have a big story around people calling them names and giving them titles based on stirring up stuff. Now, we're not stirring, we're just, our field almost amplifies because we can't deny truth because we can feel it through every cell within our being, that when we spend time with these people, we're actually literally increasing their awareness of what is within themselves. So if you've ever had people want to move away from you, that's why. Merciful. Yeah, beautiful. Kimmy, you've had a shift, baby. Vindictive. Yeah, merciful. Beautiful. Really, really proud of you. Yeah, being an empath, you do feel really, really alone, but this is where I've healed the idea that I am alone. And I know that so many of us feel alone, that actually joins us together, that unites us. And everyone on the planet's an empath. They're just to differing degrees of actually owning that. So let's get to the final point here around claiming ourselves as healers. And like I said at the beginning of the call, this can be covert, this can be overt. It doesn't matter. As you honor yourself that you are a bringer of truth, that you are a bringer of amplification, that who you are, thank you, honey pie, will actually bring people into closer connection with themselves, you're going to find it a lot more comfortable to own yourself as a healer. Truth heals. We don't bring that truth. We bring our own commitment to truth, and that field affects their field. So if you have any questions around this or anything that you want to share in these last few minutes, I'd love to invite you to ask any questions that have been bubbling away. I want to honor each of you for the spiritual gifts that you've been blessed with. I want to honor the path that you had to walk. You didn't choose it. You had to walk that path. And you've encountered a lot of not nice stuff within humanity. I want to let you know that your privileged viewing of that not nice stuff, those shadow aspects, is your privilege to be able to transmute and to call up into the higher realms to find those noble and pure aspects of the shadow. I hope everyone understands. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. You know, sometimes I get lost in riffs, and I just hope that the way that I express things is sometimes quite different. There's a million ways I could express this. Yeah, me too, Kim, darling. If you want to go on Facebook and look me up, you can find me Lysa Black, Lysa, and I have a secret group filled with intuitive empaths. There's 162 of us now. It's called Heart Leaders, and my role is to be able to serve and support these powerful, empathic, intuitive light leaders so that they can go forth and do their work with more amplification and power. Definitely grab a free copy of my book on Kindle, Heart Healing, the 13 Principles of Purpose, Power, and Peace. And that's interesting because that was how I released it. I thought it was about purpose and power and peace. And then I renamed the book to the 13 Principles of Emotional Self-Healing because I wanted to make it very clear that as a healer, my role is to guide women into healing themselves. And so the book has been renamed, and my next book is in the creative process called Heart Purpose, and it's all about how we all descend. We all give our power away and become lost until we emotionally or spiritually die. And from that point, we begin an ascension. Everyone that's drawn to me is on the ascent, and I'm here to fan soul flames and support and empower light leaders to step deeper into their potency so that they can repel and disrupt those who aren't inclined to truth and remove them from their presence, and likewise call others to deepen into the truth of who they are. Ishtaring! Yes, Rebecca Kane, we are a Ishtaring. I don't know why, but I feel the need to say the person I was speaking of was my mum. We know this was about the mother wound, beautiful Kim, and this has been a powerful part of my Ishtaring. My rise and ascent has been healing my mother wound, which was less about my actual mother than my response to my actual mother. So thank you for being brave, Kim. I really honor your truth. Look at you being a truth speaker, and I really appreciate the vulnerability and the rawness that this blab has been containing. So for everyone who's stayed on the call, like, I'm just praising you. You've been sitting in the buffeting, sitting into maybe a part of you was reacting, maybe a part of you wanted to turn away, but you've stayed to look. I just want to honor your bravery. I want to honor the power of your truth. And I know that as you've been here with me, you haven't just been listening to my words, but you've been feeling into my heart space, and you can feel my dedication to reminding you that you have a powerful purpose here that no one else can even touch what you're here to do. What you're here to do is absolutely second to none. And I just want to be that person that reminds you of that and gives you permission to honor your own need to self-heal, that honors your need to reclaim your light from your shadow teachers and gives you permission to step into your light. Damn, that was good. It is very important to meet you, Phoenix Bertha, Phoenix Breeder. And thank you so much, everyone. I've particularly loved Rebecca Kane. Does anyone want to hop on the seat and discuss this with me? Is there anyone that actually wants to have a conversation with Lysa Black, the shadow worker, about this? Comment if you dare. I think everyone's a bit too trepidatious to do so, but I'll just give you a few moments if anyone does want to jump on the seat, or we'll wrap up this recording for today. Can't believe that 368 freaking people have now accessed this book, and I just know that it outweighs the hard copies that I was able to sell last year. 300 hard copies. No, cool as. I totally get it. 300 hard copies was sold last year, and already in 1 week, 368 copies on Kindle. And this is where when we have permission to really be transparent and vulnerable, our work will be amplified. So I'm encouraging you, honoring you for what you already share about yourself, and honoring that the more you do this, the more impact you're going to have. And I'm all about reclaiming our potency, because that's what I love about each of you. But that is also what brought each of you intense pain and suffering and caused many to abandon you. And that was my path as well, and that's why I can hold you in this space. So I love you, and I always hate wrapping up these blabs, you know. Golly gosh, I could just stay around and chitty chat, but I won't. I will finish the recording and send my love and blessings to everyone who is brave and wise and powerful enough to step into this conversation. I honor you deeply. I'll be praying for each of you that have been with me during this call, and for those who will be watching the replay, that you'll be held, and that this conversation can be a powerful instigator, initiating you closer and deeper down to your truth. Have a gorgeous day, night, morning, midday, afternoon, wherever it is that you find yourself now. And my love is with you all. Thank you so much for sharing this time and space. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of love from the Empress.